Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. A DNR-funded study that was supposed to track urban deer roaming around Bloomington is drawing attention for other reasons. Researchers put collars on 85 deer and have been tracking their movements and gathering data. The study wrapped up in 2017, but as Adam Pinsker reports, researchers are worried about the deer that were involved.
Deer was laying back behind these small trees in that clearing.
Eric Sandweiss is motioning to an area in his backyard on Bloomington's southeast side. Last year, he was looking out the window of his kitchen when he noticed a deer wearing a collar that looked like it was struggling.
What was more striking was just above the collar, a big open wound in its throat that looked like perhaps the result of him trying to maybe rub up against a tree.
The deer died in Sandweiss's yard. A wildlife conservation officer told Sandweiss the collar caused the deer's death.
They had been aware that the deer was in distress, but had been unable to find it.
Between April of 2015 and July of 2016, researchers from Ball State University placed collars around the necks of deer in and around the Bloomington area. The collars have GPS navigation and radio tracking systems. Scientists set out to determine mortality rates and causes of death for urban and rural deer. Assistant Director of DNR's Office of Research, Dr. Joe Caudle, says the collars were supposed to expand as the buck's necks expanded.
What we think may have happened was just over time that material has degraded to where, at least on some of them, it doesn't seem like it's expanding or expanding enough.
Researchers were confident that wouldn't happen. Ball State wouldn't talk to us for this story, but in a Q&A on the Deer Study website, researchers addressed what would happen to the deer wearing the collars as they grew. The website says as the deer grows, the cotton thread begins to disintegrate and releases the folds one at a time, allowing the collar to expand as the fawn grows. The collars have enough stretch and folded material to accommodate the neck of a fully grown deer, but as the deer aged and grew bigger, the collars slowly strangled them. Officials wouldn't tell us the name of the company that manufactured the collars, but Caudle says the manufacturer of the collars said it had some problems with the materials they were using. But the other issue is the deer may have lived longer than the manufacturer anticipated.
The main cause for mortality of deer in urban areas tends to be deer vehicle collisions. And so they don't have to deal with predators or as many hunters.
Department of Natural Resources officials estimate there are as many as 4 deer roaming the Bloomington area that are still wearing these collars. Caudle says the cause of death of the deer Sandweiss found can't be linked to those collars. The death of a second deer is still under investigation.
One recently also died, but it didn't actually have the collar on it when we found it. So we don't know if that was due to the collar or if it was something else.
Director of Bloomington's Animal Control, Virgil Souter, says his agency is monitoring the remaining collared deer. But Souter says since Animal Control doesn't carry any tranquilizers, they won't be able to capture any of them. Instead, they'll alert DNR when the collared deer appear to be in poor health. But even then, Caudle says there is no guarantee wildlife officers will act.
It can be more dangerous to try to capture the deer to remove the collars because you have to use drugs, you have to chemically immobilize them. A lot of times there can be complications with that.
Sandweiss says his neighborhood off South Ballantyne Road is a big area for urban deer, and after his last run-in, he's not taking any chances.
Put up a high fence around our particular yard because we have a small dog that runs back here and we want to protect him.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.